But how lucky am I? They came to me with this, I think, wonderful concept that I just think it brings such a freshness to it. And it reminded me of, the child I was when I first encountered this world.
You remember who showed you the first Star Wars? Was it New Hope? Is that where you began your journey?
Oh, yeah. I was like 6 or 7 years old, and I went with my older sister and my mum and dad. I just remember I've been thinking obviously a lot about it, knowing that I would have to talk with the release of the show. And before Star Wars, really my experience of cinema was probably the Disney animated films that were coming out, whether it was The Rescuers, I think, or 101 Dalmatians. I was pretty young, And then there was Star Wars. So in a way, it was also my introduction to cinema. I remember sitting in those wonderful, big, drafty English movie houses, like, the popcorn and the chalk ice, and just being blown away by the imagination and the potential of this galaxy far, far away. How far can I go there?
Definitely, it was A New Hope. And this is not an exaggeration, by the way. The first time I watched it, I was a few days old. But of course, I didn't remember. So I watched it again when I was 5 years old. My dad showed it to me. My dad has been a huge Star Wars fanatic, mega fan for a long time. He saw it in the theaters with his brother for the first time, and it's been a part of my life too. I've grown up in a very Star Wars household. So I really enjoyed A New Hope because of Luke Skywalker. Similar to how Ryan sees Fern as the Han Solo of the group, I enjoyed making comparisons from Luke to Wim. And I enjoyed playing into aspects of Luke into my performance as Wim. And so, yeah, that's what really drew me into the Star Wars universe. Luke kind of carried it for me with his lightsaber, Yeah, definitely. I've always loved Star Wars,
We have a Luke and we have a Han. Who's a Chewie? Who's Chewie in the crew?
Me.
This guy. Combo.
I would say I'm more of a mix of like Chewie and C-3PO, but yeah.
That works. Ryan, I think it's safe to say the Fern sort of goes on to become the official leader
Yes.
Of the crew. I'm curious if that's like you. Are you a type of person who becomes a leader in a group, or did you like playing her because she's totally different from you?
Definitely. I think we shared a lot. She likes speeder bikes, and I like ATVs, and I like driving them. So that was really fun. I've been a fan of Star Wars my whole life, and I kind of saw her as the Han Solo of the group, and that kind of leader. The sense of humor. Yeah.
We'll make a partnership. But we have to move fast. I need you to take the controls.
Okay. Neil? Neil?
I want to know if the very first question that you had for them when they approached you for this was, do I get to be a Jedi?
It wasn't, but it's probably what I was thinking. But how lucky am I? They came to me with this, I think, wonderful concept that let's make the protagonists children. Let's look at the universe through the eyes of youth and awe and fear. I just think it brings such a freshness to it. And it reminded me of, the child I was when I first encountered this world. So I loved that. But equally, I loved this character they had for me, and the opportunity to play someone so mysterious and contradictory. Does he know who he is himself? He seems to be so many things to so many different people. And right. Could one of those be a Jedi? You never quite know.
Did you guys have a wall that was just designs of creatures and droids that you hadn't seen in the universe before?
Oh my God,
Yes.
We just had rooms of those. As you'd write, you'd pitch rough ideas to Doug Chang and the Lucasfilm design team, and then they would come back with here's 10 versions of that thing that you drew on a napkin.
Yeah.
Then they're all amazing.
Yeah.
And then they're here's some unused designs from this project. Maybe we could combine that. You just feel like a kid in a candy store when you're working with them because everything is cool and you want to put it all in. The hard thing is having to narrow it down.
There is this tremendous sense of play that's just infused into every scene.
Yes.
And it's interesting because Star Wars can be overly political and very dramatic if you wanted to. And this goes to show that it can just be fun. It can just be a ride. To that extent, I'm wondering how much the energy of the kids helped you maintain that kind of mood and that tone. What did they help, in terms of bringing that to life?
Well, that's a great question, and you're spot on. That, of course, first of all, these were 4 very accomplished young actors. I mean, when they had to deliver, they delivered. And they have to go to some pretty dark places. They're rounded children. They're not just sort of, two-dimensionally written. They have real jeopardy, real interaction and relationships and fear and awe. They're also children, and on set they brought a wonderful sense of joy, pleasure, play, which I've always thought is very important anyway on a film set. You've got to kind of keep that energy light. That said, when you have to deliver, you have to deliver. But, you're there doing something you love, long hours, long months, keep it elevated.
What kind of energy did Jude bring to the production? It seemed like he was having a blast as well.
No, he really was. And the funny thing was, he was so professional, yet he left room for fun. And I really appreciated how grounded and focused he was constantly. Not only is he such a nice guy, like really, he's so amazing. He's so easy to work with, he's so comfortable. It's just really fun watching him work, and he, to me, is like no other actor I've really seen work, and it's so special that he got to do this with us, or that we got to do this with him.
I love that they tapped David Lowery for these 2 episodes. I wonder how much of it did it feel like you guys were kind of extending the work that you had started on Peter Pan and Wendy?
I mean, what we were extending was a shorthand and a relationship that was, very, very tight. He's such a great director and such a good man. Both of us were, regressing to the kids we were when we both seen and stepped into the world of Star Wars for the first time.
The thing that was so amazing about David coming on board is, like, not only is he a huge Star Wars fan, but he had just made a pirate movie with Jude Law and a bunch of kids. So basically, I selfishly, as a director, just sort of stood back and watched him interact with Jude Law and a bunch of kids, and I was like, oh great, because he's been doing it, like he knows how to do it.
And he did all of our first stuff when Jude came on the show.
Yeah.
So he was our Jude Law whisperer.
Yeah.
You're a Jedi.
I want to ask you a question. We have this conversation around the CinemaBlend offices all the time. Where do you think Star Wars ranks on your personal John Williams list?
Ooh, wow. And I just watched the documentary music by John Williams, which was just another reminder of the canon and the greatness of that individual. What music? Gosh, okay, that's a really good question. And it'll make you laugh, but I'm sitting here for some reason today singing the Superman theme tune. I'm sitting here going...
That's okay, that's my answer.
But Star Wars, I mean, and then you got E.T. It's top 3, for sure.
Jurassic.
Oh.
Harry Potter.
Oh. Yeah, see? I mean, that one. And Jaws.
Jaws.
And that's before we get into all, wow. I mean, but I was really, that little Harry Potter, bum 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 bum. I mean, is iconic. It's phenomenal. Okay, that's an impossible question to answer. I will only do it. I will only answer it under serious duress. I can't. Otherwise, it's impossible.
Number 1.
Number 1?
Yeah.
Compared to the NBC nightly news.
Or like Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Jones.
When I was in high school, our band did a John Williams medley, so we played all of them.
Sorry, I didn't even understand the question because for me it was so obvious.
It's like I don't believe in ranking like that. Like John Williams, John Williams is a national treasure. Everything he does is great.
It is dangerous out there in space. Trust no one.